This is a show about getting spooked for fun, and neither one of the hosts are associated with the attractions discussed in any way, except for those skeletons in Devin's closet. Some topics may go from ghoulish to ghastly, so viewer discretion is advised. Welcome to the Great American Scream.
Oh my God, Adam.
Hey.
For so long we have been lost in the darkness. We've been deep in a cave, and now we emerge butterflies from a chrysalis. It's not a cave anymore, it's now a chrysalis.
I was going to make a Plato's allegory of the cave joke, but I really don't have enough brain power to do that right now.
Oh my God, yeah, no, that's... listen, much like our listeners and much like every single red-blooded American, loves a good allegory of the cave reference, but I don't know if I can handle it today. You can probably hear that both of us, this is not the time for us to come off hiatus, just to be clear.
Listen, but it is though, because it's September, it's fall, it's spooky season, and I was not about to let the whole first week of September go by without ending our hiatus.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair. You seem to forget that I did a wonderful episode of the podcast.
You did do a very good one, and I liked it a lot, and thank you very much. Does that make this episode 69?
Oh God, does it?
Because I had written 68,
might have this.
But I think I'm wrong. I think this is episode 69.
Oh, geez. Let me log into Libsyn.
Congratulations.
Podcast. Oh, we had a big spike of down. That's weird. Okay. Anyway. Baby, this is 69. Hell yeah.
Congratulations. Woo. We did confetti balloons drop. We did it, everybody. Episode 69. But in all seriousness, thank you, everybody, for sticking with us through a very busy summer. We would have loved to put out more content this summer, but unfortunately, our schedules didn't really allow for it, as you can probably hear in both of our voices right now. But we really appreciate if you are sitting there listening. We really appreciate you still being here. And of course, we always have time for spooky season. We weren't not going to be back for spooky season.
Right. This wasn't going to be a every other podcast that was started in 2020 where like they just stopped someday. We were always coming back.
Can't get rid of us. Yesterday, I did the inaugural trip to Spirit Halloween for the one that just opened.
That's exciting.
We started the decorations in my apartment. It's happening. So we are full gear spooky season right now. It's time.
Halloween is now. Okay. That's exciting for me. Okay. It's still summer for another 12 days.
No.
But, I mean, It is. 14 days, actually.
Nope.
I mean, it is.
No.
Like, it can be spooky season, but it's still the summer.
Nope.
Okay, we can just agree to disagree there. Adam, what is this episode about?
Well, we also come back to you from our hiatus with a very special announcement. Is that this year we are going to be giving to you some in-person coverage from Halloween Horror Nights 30 at Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida.
Woo! We literally booked the tickets last week.
I'm so excited to go to Halloween Horror Nights this year. It broke my heart not to be able to go to the one in 2019. It broke my heart even more that it was canceled last year.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that it's back and that we're going. It warms my heart. We are going to be there the weekend of October 8th. So expect our roundup review episode to come out either that following Tuesday or the week after, depending on scheduling and how tired we are. It'll be the holiday weekend, so we might have time to wrap it up that weekend after we get back. But if not, expect it the next week. I'm so pumped, especially for Devin, because you've never been.
Yes, I'm very excited, and we will have not only the live the recap episode on the podcast, but we'll also most likely be posting not only on our Instagram stories, which we'll plug, but also on the Great Scream Pod Instagram story or Twitter. We don't have Twitter stories anymore, but we'll be posting on Twitter about it. So definitely keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, we're going to make a nice little roundup video as well, so you can see Because I know that for a audio medium, it's perhaps not exciting, but you get to see, you'll get to see some of the scare zones and our reactions to the scare zones. You'll get to see some of the merch, some of the entertainment, some of the food. We can't film in the houses, unfortunately, but you'll hear about the houses on the show, but you'll you'll get to see a huge video compilations of all the times Devin and I get scared in the scare zones.
Yes, and it would also probably be a great time if you haven't already to check out the Patreon, because I'm sure that we will release just a normal, shorter video for probably on my YouTube and on the Instagram and on the Twitter. But then there'll most likely, definitely be extra content on the Patreon from all the random ass videos we take.
Oh, without a doubt. And there will be a lot of random ass videos. So as of the recording of this episode, the event is already opened. It opened last week. So coverage has already started, and all the, your all ears.nets and your Disney food blogs and your touring plans is. However, in an effort not to spoil anything for ourselves, we are only going to be for this. We're going to do a little pre-show episode. We're going to talk about the event offerings, the houses, the scare zones, our speculation, and what we're most excited for. We're only going to be using the press releases and what Halloween Horror Nights has released officially, because we don't want to spoil the houses for ourselves.
Nobody likes to be spoiled. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know, we'll review the houses after we go through them. I don't want to pre-read the reviews because I want to go in blind.
For sure.
So I haven't looked at any walkthroughs yet. I know some of the houses, Bride of Frankenstein Lives and Beetlejuice, and technically went on last year, so I have seen those, but they are different this year. Apparently, there's been stuff that's been added and changed, so I am super duper excited. So without further ado, shall we get into it?
Yes.
So this year, I guess we'll start by talking about the houses, because this is the big mamas. As of this year, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 houses at Halloween Horror Nights.
So many.
It is so very many houses. Oh, so if you don't know, so Halloween Horror Nights is Universal Studios' annual Halloween event. Actually, first ever episode of this show was about how Halloween Horror Nights came to be.
Yes, and now year, at the end of the show, episode 69.
That this year it involves 10 haunted houses, 5 scare zones, 2 shows, and a ton of entertainment and food of merchandise and food offerings. It is the 30th year of Halloween Horror Nights. This is Halloween Horror Nights 30. And it starts, last year, they didn't call it Halloween Horror Nights 30, even though they had 2 houses up because they wanted this to be the 30th anniversary year.
Last year was 29.5.
Yeah, it began Friday, September 3rd, runs Wednesdays through Sundays until October 31st, which historically, October 31st has been the night of least attendance for Halloween Horror Nights.
See, that makes sense to me because there's a thing with people visiting Orlando where you go, this will be the most busy day, let's avoid that day. And because of that, nobody goes.
We are going on not only the most busy weekend, but arguably the busiest night of the most busy weekend.
Hell yeah. Baby.
Pretty unprecedented opening night sold out this year, which usually does not happen. People were really excited for it to be back.
We're really into for it, huh?
Yeah, but people were also talking about, this is the only kind of spoiler thing that I'll talk about, but the fact that there are some safety precautions up this year. They had previously advertised, like a normal Halloween Horror Nights, but with variants and all sorts of other things. They have put up some more protections, including some vinyl dividers in houses, separating certain scare actors from certain boo holes and patrons going through, which people initially were disappointed about, but I have heard is actually making it kind of scarier to have them behind the vinyl divider.
That's fun.
I get. And also inside the houses, all of the actors do wear masks. That's really the biggest changes this year.
I mean, that's fun, though, because that means they get to wear fun masks. Much like
exactly. The masks are costumes.
Fellow Faye at the New York Renaissance Fair come see us every weekend until October 3rd.
Not sponsored. Not sponsored.
There are certain... We should be sponsored.
In fact, almost anti-sponsored. I'm sure they hate this.
I'm sure they hate this, and I know they hate me. They love you, so maybe it all equals out.
Yeah.
No, but you guys are all masked up and you get to do character-specific masks that are really I almost just said enhancipatory, which is not a...
I like it, though.
Not a word. Thank you.
I like that.
Thank you. But it actually makes the Fae kind of look sick because they all have cool masks.
Yeah.
I think that'll be really fun.
Let's dive into talking about each one of the houses this year. So one of the biggest, I think this was one of the first house announcements for this season, was Netflix's The Haunting of Hill House is our first house this year. The description says, welcome to Hill House, a structure more alive than its ghostly inhabitants. Inside these walls echo the haunted footsteps of those trapped here for all time. It says, each unsettling room, each darkened hallway takes you deeper and deeper into your worst nightmares. Come face to face with the tall man, the bent neck lady, the ghosts in the basement, and more. Enter the red room, and you may find yourself spending all eternity listening to the sound of your own screams.
Hey, bent neck lady is a bad name for a spooky person.
Apparently, she's the scariest thing on that show, though. Full disclosure, I've only seen the first episode of Haunting of Hill House, but apparently the bent neck lady is like the scariest thing on that show.
Yeah, I've also heard of her, but we need better. I get it's all because of the Bye Bye Man.
Oh, yeah.
It's all because we started just saying random words that we were like, this is what kids would call this thing. And so it just became bent neck lady.
Well, I think because
that's my one note for this house.
Well, I think because on the show, a kid gives her that name.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm pretty sure. Oh, okay.
Right, but the child didn't give the lady the name. It's fake make-believe, the TV show.
Yeah.
And so a writer in a room said, this is what a child would name this monster.
Yeah. Holly and Horror Nights always, I found this year they seem to have a nice balance of IP-based houses and original concept houses.
Okay.
This is kind of their Stranger Things of this year. It's not quite as big as the Stranger Things push was because the mascot of Holly and Horror Nights 28 was the concept of Stranger Things. There was no icon. It was just Stranger Things. And there is an event icon this year, baby, and it's Jack the Clown.
Yes, baby.
How could we forget? I should have mentioned first thing that Jack is back this year and ready to party. We'll talk a bit more about Jack later when we talk about his shows and stuff. I'm not as excited for Haunting of Hill House because I don't know the show. I should watch as much of the show as I can before we go. Mm-hmm. But I think this will be a good house for some like deep, intense theming. I've always appreciated about the IP-based houses how much they do feel like you are stepping onto the set of the television show. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's understandable why people don't, it's the Epcot syndrome of wanting no IPs ever and anything, but Universal's strength is its creative use of IP. So like it makes sense that some of the IP houses are actually going to be freaking cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wouldn't say this is like number one on my list of this is the one that I need to do. But I would like to do it, and I should probably watch more of the show before we go. Okay, the second house announcement this year was Beetlejuice, which was one of the houses they did last year. I'm super duper excited. I've heard Beetlejuice is kind of like the comedy house this year, so it is not as scary. But again, I think this is going to be a really great house for feeling like you're stepping onto the movie set. So Beetlejuice says, say it once, say it twice, say it 3 times. It's time to turn up the juice and see what shakes loose as the original film comes to life, more twisted and terrifying than ever. Beetlejuice will haunt, taunt, and send you screaming out of the haunted house. He'll torment you as you wander checkerboard hallways and abandon you to your fate in the Lost Souls room, which I'm very excited about. He'll menace you through the model graveyard and join in the fun of Dante's Inferno. Be part of the famous dinner party scene and witness Beetlejuice's chaotic wedding. It's showtime. I'm so excited to go through this house.
Yeah. That one, it just, again, it's the Universal thing where you're like, oh, they know this. They've got this on lock.
Yeah. It's going to feel precisely like you are walking through the film.
Yeah.
And down to every single last little detail. Like, I'm so excited to go through like the big Dante's Inferno thing. And I know that this is not going to be a scary house.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be like Ghostbusters. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah,
and
I think this will probably be my favorite house.
Yeah, and I know I said wouldn't spoil, but I haven't watched anything, but I have heard that when you first enter the house, there is Beetlejuice is up there on top of some kind of stand with a megaphone and is just ribbing on you as you come in.
Hell yeah.
And I'm really excited. Beetlejuice is going to be so great. All right, next house to talk about is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, another IP house. The first three houses announced were all IP houses. The original Texas Chainsaw, which I'm really excited about, because for these big franchises like Texas Chainsaw and Halloween, Universal tends to always do the sequel houses based on whatever the last movie came out was. And there hasn't been a Texas Chainsaw movie in a while. So this house is based on the original 1974 movie. So it says, you've seen the 1974 horror classic. Now it's your turn to experience it for yourself. Enter the dilapidated Sawyer house and meet Leatherface and his demented family of merciless butchers. Will you make it out in one piece or in pieces? Step right inside the story, experiencing every nightmarish moment for yourself. Explore every room of the Sawyer house, from the parlor to the blood-splattered kitchen. You'll face carving knives, meat cleavers, meat hooks, and of course, that roaring, slicing, fresh, ripping chainsaw. Yes. So
yes, and yes.
Very excited for this. What I think is going to be interesting about this one is that when I think of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I don't think of the setting. I think of the Sawyer house, but that's really the only like set piece that I think of. So I'm wondering what else we're going to be walking through besides just like the iconic dining room and the kitchen of the Sawyer house.
Yeah. It's what I want from some of these houses is I want them to physically manifest the abstract feeling of the thing they're aiming for.
I mean, you joke, but Halloween Horror Nights is really good at doing that.
Right. That's why when you say that, I'm like, I'm not actually that, like, I'm ready for it. I think they'll do something fun.
Yeah, and I love the Texas Chainsaw movies. I don't find slashers particularly, like, super scary to me, but I love this movie, so I'm excited to, again, it's that thing of, like, walking through it and feeling like you're actually on the movie set. Leatherface I love Leatherface. He doesn't really scare me that much, but I'm looking forward to going in this house. Not super high on my list, but definitely looking forward to it. All right, this next house is one of my most excited about going through houses. Universal Monsters, The Bride of Frankenstein Lives. I am so hyped. So the plot of this house, so we all know at the end of The Bride of Frankenstein, the bride rejects Frankenstein, and Frankenstein says, "We belong dead," before destroying the lab. The plot of this house is that the bride is taking over for the doctor and attempting to bring Frankenstein back from the super dead on her. So she is both the bride and she becomes the doctor.
Oh my God. Bring him back from Turbo Hell.
Turbo Hell, yeah. He says, this time the Bride of Frankenstein is stepping out of the shadows and taking her fate into her own bloody hands. The mate will have her monster and the monster his mate. Enter the tower where Frankenstein's monster pulled the lever to bring down the walls and destroy him and his bride. If we get to walk through that scene, I'm going to shit my pants. Sorry. I'm so excited. This is my favorite classic horror scene of all time.
Oh my God, yeah.
Recoil in horror, she tries to bring him back at any cost, honing her diabolical genius over one harvested body part at a time. And don't get caught between her and the brides of Dracula, who she captures and drains in hopes of reanimating her love.
Hello?
Feminism. Women.
Women.
Like, this rocks. This is so good.
My God, I'm so ready.
I'm so excited for this one. I love The Bride of Frankenstein so much, which we'll do an episode about that movie in the future because it is explicitly queer. I'm so excited. Like this, I'm so happy that they've brought back the classic monsters as horror icons and brought them back into the event, because the event did start a lot with the classic monsters, and they often get neglected in the large Universal like canon. Like when they axed Beetlejuice's Graveyard Review, their only presence in the park was the Universal Classic Monsters Cafe, which is cute. I do enjoy the cafe. But I'm so happy because last year they had the whole house that was all the the classic monsters. So I'm really excited that they're highlighting Bride of Frankenstein, and they're tossing the Brides of Dracula in there too. I think that's really cool. I'm so excited. This is gonna be so good.
No, like that's the kind of thing that you want from this kind of event where they're like, we're not just going to do the thing. We're going to take the thing, think about it for a while, and do something cool.
Yeah, it's not just the Bride of Frankenstein movie. It's like a de facto sequel. Okay, moving on to the next one. This is the icon house of this year. HHN Icons Captured. For the first time ever, 30 years of characters from your worst nightmares come together to decide who's the most evil of them all. So this is our icon house. It is not just based around Jack. They are involving Jack the Clown, the storyteller, the caretaker, the usher, the director, everyone that we have talked about from the icon world. It says, over the last 30 years, Halloween Horror Nights has introduced a murderer's row of original characters. Now they've joined forces, some newly risen to true icon status, to form a monstrous hell of fame, taunting and terrifying you at every turn. You'll meet Jack the Clown, the storyteller, the caretaker, and many more, all in one house for the first time ever. I didn't know that was true. I thought that Halloween Horror Nights 16, they had a house together, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
As you search for escape, you'll encounter tormented victims as well as each icon's demonic superfans. Me and Devin.
We're going to be there.
Who's the most evil of them all? Depending when you visit, a different icon will reign supreme. What? I'm finding this out for the first time. So this is like, I'm finding this out live right now. I guess each walkthrough of the house, a different icon wins? What?
Yeah. Or maybe it's like every night they have a different
icon wins. Yeah, that makes more sense. Oh my God. I wonder who's going to win when we go through.
Yeah,
Who are you gunning for? We have from the art, we have Chance, the director, the caretaker, Jack, the usher, the storyteller, and Lady Luck.
Oh, I'm all for Lady Luck.
You think so?
I'm all in, baby.
I'm gunning for either Chance or the usher. I love the usher.
Okay. Oh, Chance is a good choice too.
Yeah. I know Chance had her time to shine because she was, so did all of them, but Chance had more recently had her time to shine. I love the usher, so I hope he or Chance wins. I don't know what they're fighting, but I'm really excited. From what I understand of this house, it's going to feature some of the most iconic scenes from each icon's respective icon house.
Okay.
Which does mean we will see the human blender. We're going to talk about the human blender a little bit later because, Devin, I don't know if I've told you this before, but we are going to go inside the human blender this year. We'll talk about that in a little bit when we talk more about the event offerings. Okay. Moving on from Halloween Horror Nights Icons Captured, we move on to Welcome to Scary, Horror in the Heartland, Scary, SCAREY, Cary, Ohio. Here's our Cary, Ohio house for this year.
Yes.
It says, in Cary, bad things just happen. No one escapes from this small town beset by an endless parade of bloodthirsty creatures and maniacs, which I think we talked about in our Halloween Horror Nights lore episode, where Cary's kind of a oops all monsters situation.
Right, it is.
It said the town placed a sign in the entrance to Cary, Ohio, saying it's a nice place to live. Unfortunately, nobody lives here very long. No one escapes Cary, where bad things just happen and new terrors rain down year after year. If it claws, bites, feasts on blood, or just likes to rip people to shreds, it somehow finds its way into Cary. Experience an endless parade of unimaginable terrors, from horrifying creatures to bloodthirsty maniacs. You can scream all you want in Cary, but everyone's too busy doing their own screaming to pay much notice. That's not a lot of detail on exactly what is inside this house.
It's just a town. It's an entire town, actually.
The location, I should have mentioned the locations for each of these houses this year. Looks like Welcome to Scary is located. Okay, which one is E? E looks like it is, behind. This is a tent house. This is the one behind Men in Black, it looks like.
Okay.
So tent houses tend to be the smaller and less involved houses.
Right.
So I am interested to see how they're going to do this in a tent house. I think, is that the only tent house? Oh, there's also, there's two more tent houses right next to it. But so I'm interested that they put the Cary one in a tent house. Usually that goes for like a Blumhouse or a less popular IP kind of situation. But we did all the IPs because now we're moving on to all the original houses. So this is like a little secret. I'm excited to see what awaits us in
just
Cary.
a little box that we go inside.
Okay, moving on. Case files, unearthed, legendary truth, which is truly just a bunch of words. We could have just ended.
Yeah, give me that again.
Case files, unearthed, semicolon, legendary truth.
Yeah, no, that's nothing, actually.
But this rocks.
Tell me
Listen
what
to
it
this
is.
description.
Yeah.
Follow the trail of a private eye as an investigation into the supernatural leads you into a dark world of ghouls and terrifying creatures. It's a film noir house.
Why did you name it that, friend?
And even so, more exciting, there is no additional... oh, here it is. Never mind. The page isn't working. Okay. Step into the shoes of Boris Schuster, a hard-boiled private eye investigating the supernatural. Follow his search for clues into the darkness of a shadowy film noir world populated by ghouls, poltergeists, and a manner of monstrous terrors. Face horrific creatures in a seedy apartment, an abandoned warehouse, the Museum of Natural History, and more. Enter the Kitty Cat Club, where you're attacked by terrifying she-devils, and search for the totems that will complete the tale of a mystery that's best left unsolved. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah.
It seems very 2030s, 40s film noir-y.
Yeah.
Almost like a dark, like, Toontown from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah, you guys you guys had an idea and you made it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it looks like there will be some kind of mystery to solve throughout. It's a search for the totems that will complete the tale, which I imagine are going to be like cool Easter eggs as you're walking through the house. I always find that that's why when I lived in Florida, I liked going through Halloween Horror Nights multiple times because I would never see all the Easter eggs because I was too busy being terrified.
Yep.
So I'm excited to be on the lookout for them this year.
Yeah, it's like that's something that that Universal has the ability to do that a lot of smaller haunted attractions don't have the ability to do is like build these entire experiences and then on top of that be like, also there's an ARG going on. Go find the totems.
Yeah, right. Also, we've got 3 more of the original idea houses. The first is the Wicked Growth, Realm of the Pumpkin. There's no breaking free from the vines of the Pumpkin Lord. It's me, I'm the Pumpkin Lord. Here to entrap you in his ever-growing evil. Which, that sounds silly, but I have heard so far that this is people's favorite house of the year and the scariest one. It says, an evil rot has taken root in the land. It's time once again for the rise of the Pumpkin Lord, who grows Halloween like a malignant vine. His minions are scouring the countryside, collecting unwilling sacrifices in order to summon the Pumpkin Lord. The closer to Halloween, the more people practice the traditions, the greater the powers of the Pumpkin Lord grow. As the pumpkins grow ever bigger, your fear grows ever greater, and your odds of escape grow smaller. From the cemetery to the forest, there's no breaking free from the tenacious vines of the merciless Pumpkin Lord.
Yes, absolutely. This is like that episode of Over the Garden Wall with the pumpkins, but goes full spook. I like.
Big fan of Pumpkin Lord, big fan of Boris Schuster, Private Eye, or whoever it was in the last one.
Yeah,
we're getting some
I'm
new
such
characters
a fan of Will
this year.
Schuster's dad.
We're getting some new characters this year, and I'm really excited.
It's literally like they spent the whole year off, and they're like, well, we have to go hard in the paint.
Yeah.
Now.
Okay, and the final 2, one is Puppet Theater Captive Audience. This was announced last year, but never done, unfortunately. They did Beetlejuice and Bride of Frankenstein instead. So a puppeteer and a ballet troupe trapped in a deserted theater for years are about to turn you into a human puppet. That's your cue to scream. Open scene. A creepy abandoned old theater from the early 1900s San Francisco. A puppeteer and a ballet troupe have been trapped there ever since, and they'd kill for an audience. Whether you're a puppet or a patron, that's your cue to scream. All the blood will drain from your face as you see the green room run red with blood. I like that a lot.
That's really good.
Your horror grows as you come upon grotesque living marionettes made from severed limbs. I almost said a cuss. I rock with this. This is going to be awesome. I rock with
this hard.
If you manage to escape their gory puppetry, then you'll become a part of the skeletal audience rotting in place. Oh, this sounds like it's going to rock.
Oh, my God.
Oh, this is going to be really good. This is
so
remember
good.
when we talked about Grand Guignol Theater, back when we talked about the splatter episodes, the French macabre grotesque theater. This is just this. This is going to be super gothic and super gory at the same time.
Oof.
Ooh.
Oof. Oof.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be good. And finally, the last house of the year is Revenge of the Tooth Fairy. I forgot.
God.
This is
It's
also
about-
one of the houses that ended up going up last year. The
Okay,
innocent
and this is Dwayne
traditions.
The Rock Johnson's thing, right?
The innocent traditions of the Tooth Fairy hide a darker ritual. It's an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Ahem.
What?
You're about to discover the sinister reality behind the seemingly innocent childhood tradition. All children must give up their baby teeth to the goblin-esque tooth fairies or pay a gruesome price. It's an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Step into an old manor house that has been swarmed by yellow-clawed fiends dripping with blood, teeth, and gore. Grit your teeth as you see the evil fairies extract their toothed bounty by force while victims struggle in vain. Hold your screams or risk exposing your own teeth to their monstrous, grasping claws.
Hello?
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Oh, I do.
No, I mean, I like it, but I don't like it. Hey, stop.
Oh, I'm excited for this one. I've seen pictures and video from when this house went up last year, and it's all of the sets and like non-moving people are like sketched and drawn, so it looks like a children's storybook, which I'm very excited about.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So those are our houses for this year.
I love it.
And, Jack is our beautiful, beautiful icon. And he's kind of rounded up all of these houses for this year. So let us talk about the scare zones, which are the outdoor, like non-houses that you walk through areas of the park. So we have 5 scare zones this year. The first scare zone being Crypt TV, which I am so excited about. Crypt TV, if you don't know about it, is this really awesome YouTube channel that produces original short horror films and short series written by like independent horror film directors that otherwise would not get a platform to release their content. And there are some amazing, amazing, amazing shorts on that channel. I really highly recommend taking it out. So the description is: step inside Crypt TV, a dark universe of monsters that reside in the same reality on your own screen, in your pockets, and now San Francisco. So this is in the San Francisco area of the park where Jaws used to be. And I believe Crypt TV, I believe Crypt TV on their YouTube channel has a playlist of all of these shorts that you should watch before you go through the scare zone so you can recognize the monsters. One of them being, I believe it's the Look-See is like the biggest one.
Okay.
And I am so freaking excited for this one.
I am too. It's really cool to bring in such a kind of indie horror thing.
Yeah.
Who made that choice? That's so smart.
I'm so excited. The second scare zone is 30 Years, 30 Fears. The monsters you've most dreaded from past Halloween Horror Nights have taken over the streets. They're back and your history. This scare zone is cool because it's basically 1 or 2 characters from the most popular scare zones on every Halloween Horror Nights just about.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a little, I'm going to call it out right now. It's a little bit the costume department went, well, we've got all these laying around.
Hell yeah. No, I love that. No, it's the best kind of thing to do.
So it's going to kind of be like a compilation of all the best scare zones from past years, which is going to be really exciting. And this is kind of where Jack the Clown is going to play most of the time. So you'll get to see him out and about.
Hell yeah.
The next one is Seek and Destroy. A ruthless alien cyber regime led by the Controller has taken over New York, turning humans into fuel. Succumb or be destroyed.
Soon you will be fuel.
This is kind of, people were calling this when they were setting up the Big Brother scare zone, because that's what it looks like. And this was before they had announced it. It's a very kind of dystopia, cyber regime-y kind of scare zone, which is not my favorite thing in the world. I'm excited to go through it. It's not my favorite kind of horror subgenre, but I always love the scare zone, so it should be really good.
Yeah, it seems like a good setting / aesthetic to do for something like a walkthrough area rather than a whole
house.
Rather than a house, yeah.
This is going to be in the New York area. I believe 30 Years, 30 Fears is the entryway scare zone. So when you first come in, like where Despicable Me and Shrek are.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The next one is Lights, Camera, Haction, Eddie's Revenge. You remember Eddie Schmidt, Jack's brother?
Yeah.
Yeah, this
I know
is
him.
his scare zone. It says, get ready for the feel-bad movie of the year. Eddie Schmidt, Jack the Clown's brother, is filming a horror film and the monsters are real. Good for Eddie.
Good for him. I'm glad he's branching out.
Yeah, he never got his like icon thing, so I'm very happy that he's having his own, at least scare zone this year. He probably deserved a house, but did not get one. And finally, the one that I think Devin is the most excited about.
Oh, you know it.
Gorewood Forest. 16 years after the gory sacrifices of Terra Cruntis, the heartless Terra Queen is back. Evil is her nature.
Yes. She's back. My
baby.
Mom has returned to us.
I've heard this is the bloodiest, goriest scare zone of the whole year.
Hell.
And Devin, you're going to get to see the Terror Queen.
Adam, I want to do a cuss real bad. In my head, I'm cussing so much.
The Terror Queen is, I think, Devin's like Lady Dimitrescu. What's her name?
Lady Dimitrescu or whatever. Yeah.
I think that's your her.
That's me. I'm the little boy she can carry around.
So those are our 5 scare zones this year. Strong lineup. Super excited to head through them. So finally, I want to talk a little bit about the 2 shows and then the additional offering that Devin and I will be bringing you through as well. So there are 2 shows this year, which I'm super excited about. One is Marathon of Mayhem, Carnage Factory, which is the Lagoon show this year. Universal in recent years has started doing a water projection show at night. And then as of last year, they started doing a Halloween Horror Nights version. So this one, it says, there's no manufacturing the screams as a terrifying show comes to life in Universal Studios Lagoon. It's a fear factory. Again, not a ton of description, but it's going to be your projection show with all your different compilations, the different monsters that you've seen throughout the night, which I'm really excited about. And the second one is called Halloween Nightmare Fuel. A new show is igniting Halloween Horror Nights featuring fire, pyro, and aerial performers. This is our Academy of Villains replacement, as the Academy of Villains are not at Halloween Horror Nights this year. So again, I think this is going to be dancey, acrobatic-y kind of something. I definitely am excited to see both of these shows. I love seeing a show in the middle of Halloween Horror Nights because it's a nice like little break. You get your snacky and your drinky, and you sit and you watch the explosions.
Between the spooks, you see the fire and the people who do flippy.
Yeah, and you have a pretzel.
They do a flippy, we do a sippy.
Yeah, effectively. The only thing I'm disappointed about with this entertainment is that I really thought that since Jack the Clown was the icon, they were going to have another Carnival of Carnage show this year. I'm super duper disappointed that there isn't one. I don't know if they were full up on spooks. But
got too many of them.
I was really hoping there would be a Carnival of Carnage show this year. I get they probably, because Carnival of Carnage is usually a standing show where people gather around an outdoor stage. So maybe they just didn't want to do that with like a big crowd of people.
That's fair.
While Halloween Nightmare Fuel is going to be in the Fear Factor Theater, so it's a seated show. So, but you just put a Carnival of Carnage in there. It's fine. Those are our entertainment offerings. There's also a ton of different merch offerings this year based on the different houses. There's different stuff that comes out each week based on different houses. There is the Tribute Store this year, which they've just started now, instead of just doing a Halloween Horror Nights Tribute Store, having a year-round Tribute Store. And the Tribute Store also now has like specialty like bakery items. There's like a based on like different.
I want spooky muffins.
Yeah, based on different houses. Like Revenge of the Tooth Fairy has its own food stand. So does Jack's Carnival Courtyard has its own food stand. There's a Realm of the Pumpkin themed kiosk. There's a Bride of Frankenstein wedding cake.
Very good.
And our cocktails this year, which usually Halloween Horror Nights. Yes. So the Halloween Horror Nights thing is that there's 2 special cocktails, or you get them in a fancy glass with a twisty straw, so you can drink both at the same time, which is the way you do it.
God.
One of them is Ghoul Juice, which is mango rum with cherry, lime, and allspice. And the other one is Bog Slime, which is gin, lime juice, and house-made matcha cardamom syrup.
So I'm going and I'm drinking the ghoul and the bog.
Yeah, I'm drinking both of the same. I'm getting the twisty
ghoul and the
straw.
bog and the bog down in the valley, yo.
I'm drinking both at the same time with the little twisty straw.
I guess I'm also doing that.
In the stupid cup. I'm very excited for it. And, there's a ton of other different snacks and foods.
Ezra's going to yell at me if I buy this stupid two-tone twisty straw cocktail.
You cannot leave Universal Studios, not just Halloween Horror Nights, but Universal Studios without a stupid cup. That you get a stupid cup with everything. I cannot get rid of my stupid cups.
He's already going to be pissed that I would need to go in and get some butter beer in a stupid cup. And now he's going to be like, Devin, don't buy this stupid cocktail. But I'm going to.
Oh, there's another one this year. Jack's Old Fashioned Jack and Choke. Tennessee whiskey, cherry brandy, and old fashioned syrup.
Oh my God. Jack and Choke.
Yeah. I'm super duper excited. We'll definitely be trying. We'll get some Twisted Taters, which is my favorite Halloween Horror Nights food. And all sorts of the other. We'll try some of the Bago donuts and et cetera, et cetera. The pumpkin guts. Ooh, okay.
Pumpkin guts. All pumpkin right. Butts.
This is not about food, but this is also making me hungry. So we're going to move on to the last thing that we're going to talk about, which is the offerings at the hotel that we are staying at, Cabana Bay. And I specifically picked Cabana Bay because they have special Halloween Horror Nights offerings there. So I'm trying to find the there it is. Okay, so there is a jacked up experience at Cabana Bay. Okay. Enter the twisted world of Jack the Clown and take a mind trip through the chaotic carnival of carnage. Pose for photos, go inside Jack's human-sized blender, and undergo a maniacal transformation. This Absolutely, is a walk. Yes. It's a walk-through photo thing with a bunch of old props from old Jack the Clown stuff. Which I'm really excited about. And what I'm most excited about is being able to take a picture inside the human blender.
Yeah, that's all I'm there for.
Yeah. And there's also a Horror Icons bar. So there's a bar in the lobby of Cabana Bay that they have transformed into a Halloween Horror Nights bar. And there are different specialty cocktails based on the different icons.
So many cocktails.
I know, so many cocktails. But you have to do Halloween Horror Nights like a little drunky.
Listen, Mom, don't listen. I'm going to be drunk this entire time. There's not going to be a moment of this show.
Well, that is all the offerings at Halloween Horror Nights this year and absolutely everything Devin and I will be hitting.
Oh my
Devin,
God.
are you excited?
I'm so excited to see my good mom. And Jack will also be there. I'm very excited. I do want to plug both of our Instagrams and also the Great Scream Pod Instagram, which is at Great Scream Pod. I am at Devin LW. Adam?
I'm at Adam J. Ocon, ADAMJOCON. And you'll be able to see once we're there. We will be at Universal Studios from October 8th to the 10th. So you'll be able to see all of our spooky coverage there, as well as on the Great Screen Pod Instagram. And the video and the podcast episode will come up shortly after we return, definitely before Halloween rolls around. But that's not the next thing you're going to be hearing from us. We are back for spooky season, so we are back to our regular episodes coming out each Tuesday of every week, kind of leading up to our little trippy trip. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening to this episode, and welcome back, all of you. If you enjoyed, please leave a rate and review on iTunes or follow us on Spotify. You can share the show and tell a friend. It's the best way to spread the word. I'd also like to give a special thanks to Michael Segudo, who does the intro disclaimer to the show, and Stevie Viola, who does the intro and outro music. Also, a special thank you to all of our Man in the Fields or higher people on Patreon. So thank you to Regina, Ben, Bree, Gail, Joyce, Melinda, and Chris. Adam, I also did you see that the Muppets have a new special coming out that's in the Haunted Mansion?
Muppets Haunted Mansion? Oh, yes, of course I know. Of course.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure you saw Fozzie Bear with his head in it.
As the Hatbox Ghost? Absolutely. Yeah. I will be watching and we will be talking about it.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Well, hey, I've been Devin Wright.
I've been Adam O'Connell.
And hopefully you have been spooked.
Bye, Tara Crugis. We'll see you there, Tara.
Mom, we'll see you so soon. I love you.